Hello everyone, my name is Laura Munar and I'm going to talk about of English literature and also in some authors. Okay, go ahead. Okay, the first one is the Renaissance. That was a period of transition between the Middle Ages and the beginnings of the modern age. It was produced during the 15th and 16th centuries. And Renaissance is known as the cultural and artistic movement in Germany, Netherlands, French, and England. And it was a period that used a lot of art, architectures, politics, sciences, and of course literature. Okay, I have one example about the rhythmic overthought in this type of period. That is this that you all heard. For example, if you want to be very relaxed, I recommend you that you can to hear this type of sound because have a lot of instruments and it's very relaxed and quiet. And so this is an example about this type of music of this period. Okay, a representative of this type of period was William Shakespeare, that he was on 26 April 1564 and he died on 23 April 1660. And he was English playwright, poet and actor, and in his novels or works he used a lot of feelings, pain and ambition of the human soul. Shakespeare is considered the most important writer in the English language and one of the most famous in the world literature. Okay, so the gender of the Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet was this word was tragedy and drama. I recommend you that you can to learn this type of books because have a lot of interesting things. If you like drama and tragedy, I think that you like this type of books. Okay, as you can see, this is a sonnet of the William Shakespeare that are poems in the astrophic front on the English sonnet English themes such as love, beauty, politics, and mortality. And so I want to show you one example about the sonnet. And
see the brown day sunk in hideous night. When I behold the violet past prime, and sable curls all silvered o'er with white. When lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd, and summer's green all girded up in
as you can see, this poem have a strophic form of the English sonnet, okay? Also, I want to talk about the Romanticism. That was a cultural movement that originated at the end of the 18th century, giving obviously priority of the sentiments and the love. The Romanticism was characterized by emphasis on the emotion and individualism, and it was this type of period was very sweet. Okay, one of the most notorious representative of this type of period was William Blake, that he was born in United Kingdom on 28 November 1557 and he died on 12 August 1827. He was an English poet, painter, and printmaker. So, for example, the relationship between poems and illustration for example, if you want to read some poems or you want to see a lot of illustration, you have to be a creative person because you have to be very imagination with the types of the poems of the painter, yes, because the illustration have a lot of, for example, forms or with a lot of things, and for this reason you have to be very, very imaginative. For example, in this part, as you can see, that is the painting the body of the able phone of the Adam and Eve. It was a fantastic vision of the reach of symbol, that if you want to find a lot of I don't know, things or something like that, you can to feel inspiration or physical senses, but aspect of that unique like of the imagination, yes. And if you want to read some poems, for example, I recommend you this, that is the marriage of the heaven and hell. That is the mouth of the imagination of biblical poetry, but with its own interpretation, yes, on in the revelationary and religious belief. And also Edgar Allan Poe, that he was born in United States, and he was an American writer, poet, author, and literature critic. For example, his novels or his books have a lot of mystery and macabre. Yes, for example, he used a lot of horror in the histories. For example, he was generally recognized as the one of the universal masters of the story, a short story. Yes, for example, he revolutionized the horror stories, giving it a originally psychologist perspective. And he created this type of these histories, the Black Hat and the Hip Ribbon. The Black Hat critics, for example, consider that is one of the scares in the history of literature, because this history have a lot of things about the diet, about the discriminate, about the scare of something like that, yes. And the ribbon that is writing narrative poem. For example, in this case, he used aestheticized language and supernatural atmosphere, and it's very, very interesting, this type of histories. But if you want to know and you want to learn about the dramatic and horror histories, you can to learn about this type of histories about the Edgar Allan. Also, I have Oscar Wilde, that he was born in France on 16 October 1854, and he died in 30 November 1900. He was an Irish poet and playwright. He was the genres writing were comedy, poetry, drama. He wrote a lot of narrative literature, and he wrote about one book that are Salome. The word is full of symbolisms, for example, the relevance of the moon and dramatic tension. Oscar ate, for example, to the character of the Salome, a whole argument that suggests the evangelical story, and so for this reason it's very recognized, this type of books. This type of book have a lot of things about the diet, about the glut, but it's very interesting, and so I recommend you that you can to read, because you can to learn a lot about the language. And also, if you want to read this type of book, have the English literature and French literature. And so for this reason it's very important and interesting. Okay, and also I have the Beat generation, that was a literary movement started by a group of the authors were explore and influence American culture and politics in the post-war era. This movement originated in the 1950s and was very important because a lot of people try to influence a lot of, for example, elements in the culture. For example, I have this type of narrative values that was the rejection of the standard narrative values. The second one was the making a spiritual quest. The third one was the rejection also of economical materialism. And the third image, it's related to the sexual diversion and exploration, because in some cases this type of people want to be very liberate, be very excited, and for this reason he tried to recognize and to rejection a lot of things. Okay, the final that is, what is literature? Okay, for example, literary ability is conferred by the way of narrating and ordering events, yes? And so for me, literature is the art that uses the word as a means of the expressions. For example, the spoken of the writing, and also that is the express a series of the feelings, horror, drama, or something like that. And so I hope that you enjoy this type of video, because I really like it, this type of the authors of the literature. And that's all. Thank you so much.